Hey guys, welcome back. So today's update are shoulder bells. Now I've got 3 of them here, which is a weird number, but let's take a look. So these are for the RA7 droid, which is the Death Star droid. Now, if you saw my previous video 2 weeks ago, the Rogue One trailer came out. Trailer was like a sneak peek behind the scenes kind of thing, and they had the Death Star droid, which is one of my favorite droids. And I did a video showing some of the differences between the new one and the Sizzler reel and the old one, which I have sculpted my head on. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those heads right here right now. But anyway, I wanted to start finishing that suit and decided that I was going to go with 3D printing. I could have sculpted it. It would have taken me longer. I would have had to make molds, make castings, which all cost a lot of money, and 3D printing is considerably cheaper. I can 3D model, so I figure I may as well. I have a ton of reference of the old suit, and I have like 2 seconds of footage of the new suit, so I've done a lot of comparison, and I figure I'm gonna try to hit a middle ground with this build where I'm using the old suit as my reference to do the basic modeling. So there's some details on the chests and so forth that I am going with the old model, the old style from A New Hope, whereas the new style in Rogue One is slightly different, but that's okay. However, I do want mine to look, I don't necessarily want it to look perfect, but I want it to look clean like the Rogue One model. I think that's when people are going to see. It's going to be more of a public thing, so if I have my suit finished, I want it to resemble that suit more, at least for the time being. A little bit of weathering, but not as dirty as A New Hope. So I'm trying to hit this middle ground. It's not going to be a perfect replica of either. It's going to be sort of in between, but I think it's going to read really nice. So anyway, one of the first things I got printing here were the shoulders. Now, I did the shoulders more like the new droid, which has this little T-shaped detail. The old droid had a little bit wider, just a straight line that went all the way up and no little T at the top. But again, I figure since this is going to read more like the newer droid, I want people to see this costume, and when they see Rogue One, they feel like it's accurate, even though it's going to be, you know, like I said, a crossover between the old and the new. So it's the first time I'm taking as much liberty, but it should look really good. But anyway, so I printed this one, and I realized there's a couple things I didn't like, so I changed the model and I printed these two, which these are accurate enough for my tastes. They have the little ring inside, an opening here where the hinge will fit through. I noticed on the new suit there are 2 pins that go through on the top that will hold it in place, and I'm using the same shoulder ring assembly that I printed for C-3PO. So this is it's technically a 3-piece ring, but I don't have the center ring printed. These go together. The shoulder will connect on the outside like this with a little hinge, which I don't have yet, and then this whole thing will rotate on the suit, which is proper, like the movie suits do. This is also the correct size for both this droid and C-3PO. This is a smaller size ring than what you see on the typical costume suits that are around, so I'm excited about that. I will be printing the full torso, and I may print the legs. I started to make a set of legs already out of fiberglass, but I think I'm going to try to 3D print them for the RA7. I may do the entire suit 3D printed with the exception of the helmet, and I may actually go back to 3D print the helmet, depending on how I feel when it's done. It just depends. I'm pretty happy with how this is coming out. I'm printing this in PLA. I would like to do it in ABS, but ABS is a little more fickle, and I would rather get this printed and done and then maybe print a second one in ABS if it needs to be done that way. And I will be coating these parts with smooth-ons, what do they call it? There's a name for it. I'll go look it up. But it's a smooth-on, it's like a brush-on resin that goes over 3D parts to smooth them out. So I'll brush that on and then resand everything, and I believe that will not only help it smooth easier, but it will add a little bit of structural integrity to these pieces. Now these are pretty strong. I don't think they're going to break when I use them, but Anyway, so here's a look. Let's go take a look at the model. Go up to my desk in a moment. We'll check it out, and I can show you what's up next, and we will go from there. So, all right, back to the computer. All right, so here we are in 3D Studio Max, and here's a look at the current condition of the torso. The arms are just here for reference. I am actually about to start printing a set of the RA7 arms. I am not using the ABS I used before. I can show you. I must have tried 10 times to finish a set of C-3PO arms with that Hatchbox ABS filament, and it failed almost every time. I've got the forearms done, but the upper arms I still haven't been able to print yet. So anyway, I'm going to do these arms in the PLA, which I did with my C-3PO arms. If you saw my red C-3PO suit, the arms on that are done in PLA. I've used them now for 3 events, and I used one of them in a half marathon, and all the pieces of it are, as far as the pistons, the upper and lower arms, are all 3D printed on my printer at home, and they've held up just fine. And running with it for 13.5 miles and waving at lots and lots of people is a lot of abuse, and there's 0 problems with it. So that kind of gave me a bit more confidence in the PLA. So anyway, I'm going to hide these arms here. And here's the torso. These are the rings that I printed today. And one of the changes I made is this detail wasn't quite big enough on the first batch. The ring size was a little off by about 1 millimeter, so I fixed it and I kind of adjusted the curve a tiny bit. Here's my reference for the back of the suit. I think the back of the new suit might be a little bit different. On the trailer, you can see a little bit of a detail coming through under here on the torso along the side that isn't on the old suit. So I don't know what that is. I won't find out until the new movie comes out. But this is kind of how I set this up. Let's see if I can find the front here. I bring in an image like this, and this is scaled so that these shoulder rings, the distance across and the height are totally correct, so that I model around that. That's my point of reference. So if I hide this, you can see there's my suit. I can literally draw right over the lines, and you can see how it goes together. I haven't done the circle detail yet, but you see how everything else just lines up about perfectly. A couple little adjustments have to be made to the top, and I have to figure out the neck and make sure that my angles are just right. I'm trying to find a really good profile picture so I can get this sorted perfectly. And once the neck is figured out, just a couple little things will have to happen to soften a few curves and cut that hole here in the chest for that kind of plug, and then it'll be ready to print. But it's very close now. I'll hide this thing so you can see the back. So here's the basics, almost ready to go. Now on top of this, this is, ignore this leg, I just did that without reference just to see what it looked like. I may model the shorts, and you can see I threw in a head here. This was just because I had figured out all these dimensions, and I just wanted to see how wide the head was, just to compare the one that I sculpted with this one in the scene. Now this one, technically measured across using the photo, is 8.89 inches at the widest point, and the one I sculpted is 9 inches at the widest point, so I'm about a smidge off, but I think that's pretty freaking good considering that I eyeballed everything just from reference photos on my first draft, so I'm happy about that. Anyway, that's sort of like the stand-in head shape. I may model it, I may not, I don't know yet. But I do think I'm going to model the legs. I will put in good reference sometime this week and actually model them. This is just dumb, a 5-minute little thing. Same with the shorts. I have good measurements and reference I can use. So once I get those started, I will potentially 3D print the shorts as well. So anyway, I'll keep you guys posted. I'll have the arms printed probably by Thursday, and so these parts will be done, and hopefully by the time the arms are done, the torso will be ready to start printing, and I can get that moving. Hopefully this build goes quickly. We will find out. Yeah, so there's that. Wrist pieces printing now. So I got those arms started. And just also another update, the sculpture that I started on the live feed, I've been working on that since then, but I haven't been able to get the software working quite correctly for the live feed. If anybody saw the second one I did, I think the audio dropped out like just a few minutes in, and I haven't been able to figure that out quite yet, why that is. I believe they made an app for this phone that I can use for the live feed, and I've seen people use this phone for live feeds on YouTube, and it looks really clear and good, way better than what I was posting the other day. So I'm hoping that I can do that, and I'll pick back up with a sculpture. I already had somebody, I told them my plan that I was going to make some generic alien masks, and I already have someone who wants to buy one of each, so that's good. I haven't seen them yet. We'll see, but I'll get back to that soon, and I'll just make a video of where that thing is at in progress in the next few days, because it should be ready to mold pretty soon. It is 1:18 in the morning. I got to get up at 6, so I'm going to go in and try to go to bed soon. We'll see. But thanks for watching. See you guys soon.